Okay, guys, welcome to the K-Circle Design Quiz. So quick shout out to our team, Revant, Shreyas, Harshita, Yash, Prasanna, Ashan, and I'm Rajdeep. Uh, totally in-house quiz again. Uh, Starting off with the prelims, there are 32 questions. 1 to 14 are 1 point each, 15 to 27 are the star mark questions, and 26 to 32 are 2 point questions. 32 is an audio-visual question, and we'll take it after cycling back. Top 8 in the finals, please don't use any unfair means. All the best. Starting off, question 1. Okay. Adalbert Boucher is a Swiss professional who was selected to create an exhibition showpiece in 2010. His creation required 50 kg of a certain material and 3 days worth of labor to complete. It was displayed at the West in Hyderabad. Which company, one of the largest of its kind, had put up this exhibition? So that guy in the black hat, that is Mr. Boucher. And he's obviously designing a miniature replica of the Charminar from a certain material. So look at the color of the material, look at where he's from, and take an educated guess as to what company could he be a professional for. Lint is the right answer. Moving on, question 2. The product seen here is a cat bed / litter box. Which product, the brainchild of a certain African individual, is this item inspired by? Don't focus on the cat so much, but look at the kind of shape that it sort of creates. Don't look at the bottom, just look at the blank space that it creates. It might remind you of something. A certain very in the news African individual designed this, or his product inspired this design. It's the Tesla Cybertruck. Moving on, question 3. Ropelism is the art of writing verse in which each successive word is one letter longer than the previous. So that's a nice little example sentence, and you can go through it. Basically, what it means is you started off really small, and then you kept gathering letters from around you as you continued to accelerate or go through the motions. And therefore, a ropelistic sentence is also called a dash sentence. What does it remind you of? It's called snowballing. Okay. Moving on, question 4. Dick Bradsell was a British barman noted for his innovative work with cocktails, including the creation of many new drinks now considered to be modern classics. He is credited with also the creation of dash dash. Also, throughout the quiz, we have indicated the word lengths also, 8, 7. First word is 8 letters, second is 7. The story goes that a customer asked for something that would wake him up and then dash. The second part in itself is also a cocktail, and it just combines with the first one. If it helps, he designed an espresso martini. Moving on, question 5. The NASA Mars rover, launched in 2020, has 2 assistive technologies mounted on each of its arms, 2 arms. One is the scanning habitable environments with Raman and luminescence for organic chemicals system, working in tandem with another assistive entity which documents these findings and relays it back to NASA. What is this other assistive entity called? Scanning habitable environments becomes Sherlock, and therefore the other assistive entity is called Watson. Watson, or Dr. James Watson, is the only acceptable answer. Moving on, question 6. Goodbye Trash Can, Hello Cheese Grater was the title of an article published by TechCrunch in 2014. The subject of this article inspired this individual to actually test out how effective a certain design would be as a cheese grater. What was the subject of the article that was designed by Ive and Newson before they quit to form a company, Love From? It's the Mac Pro. Okay, question 7. This is a first in elevator design, and it shows the novel aspect with why this elevator is unique, and it was actually foreshadowed in a popular work of fiction. The elevator is therefore also known by that name. What is the popular name of the elevator? Just to clarify, I will need the name of a character from a work of fiction in your answer. I'll need the name of a character from this work of fiction. This is the elevator. It takes its name after a character, and I want the name of the character. Willy Wonka is the right answer. Okay, question 8. This is the trailer for a hypothetical movie called Galactic Menagerie, created by this particular user. And it basically uses only AI. It is how Star Wars would look if it was made in a certain style, as in using a certain design aesthetic. What is this design aesthetic? So have a look at the trailer first. It's a very small clip.
Join this ragtag crew of unlikely heroes as they navigate the absurdity of the cosmos, challenge the Empire, and redefine what it means to be a rebel.
Our mission is simple. We steal the Emperor's artifact, save the galaxy, and maybe find ourselves along the way.
So it uses a certain design aesthetic. Perhaps you've seen similar kinds of works in other, or with the same aesthetic. So what is this design all about? This is designed in the style of Wes Anderson. Question 9. In 1972, Henry Massonet was able to manufacture this particular item in under 2 minutes by using injection molding. As the process was not patented, it allowed millions of units under different names to be manufactured worldwide. It spread out. Massonet is largely credited with establishing something called the monoblock design through his commercial success. In India, which brand uses the monoblock design? Neel Kamal is the right answer. Moving on, question 10. The word fascism derives from the Latin fascia, which means a bundle of rods tied together. What popular food item also gets its name from the same root word, considering how it was designed to be eaten? It is fajitas. Question 11. This is a layout design that has grown in popularity over the past few years. Apple is credited with popularizing the format with their website layouts and their more recent visual summaries at the end of product launches. The layout consists of a rectangular frame in which quadrilaterals of different sizes are nested in a manner that both organizes and simplifies the understanding of the content. What is it inspired by? So this is how the Apple website looks like. A larger overall quadrilateral with other smaller quadrilateral for each component, let's say. So bento box is what we are looking for. We'll move on. Question 12. When this technology was introduced in 1994, it transformed the packaging process. Its creators had drawn inspiration from how city blocks, when viewed from above, showed skyscrapers as distinct from the rest. What industry standard design is this? Look at the fact that each skyscraper sort of stands out from the rest. The tips of the skyscrapers together, they come together to form a larger kind of design image, and initially transformed the packaging process, but today it's used across industries. We've all used it. These are QR codes. Okay, question 13. After the Christchurch earthquake in 2011, Shigeru Ban was invited by Reverend Craig Dixon to discuss the construction of a temporary cathedral that could also host concerts and civic events. He constructed it using a certain material along with polycarbonate and steel. For a relief project in Ahmedabad, he had earlier sourced the same material locally from suppliers who enabled textile factories to transport their goods. What everyday material, which is also the name of this cathedral. So look at what forms the roof per se. Not so much the shape, perhaps, but look at the color, look at what material it might remind you of. The cross is also made from the same material. Very common everyday material, not limited to the textiles industry in any way. It's a cardboard cathedral. Question 14. The rivalry between British Airways and Richard Branson's Virgin Group garnered a lot of attention, and one interesting saga took place in 1999, when a structure being sponsored by British Airways was to be erected on the south bank of the Thames. But due to technical issues, they couldn't erect it properly in time, and Branson got an airship to fly over the structure with an image saying, BA can't get it up, with his usual tact and diplomacy. So this is what that blimp looked like, and that yellow crane, it is about to erect something. It's the London Eye. Okay, question 15. These are the star-marked questions. This logo for the Museum of London was designed to convey the diversity of its visitors and citizens through colors and shapes. What does this logo reference? Maybe the shape doesn't help you that much, but look at the fact that it has got several different colors. It's the Museum of London's logo. Yeah, Fair Zones is fine. Fair Zones, colors, tube, London Underground, London Metro, lines. Question 16. Ohio's 9th congressional district is one of the most gerrymandered in the US. Due to this, it has a very unusual shape. spanning a razor-thin slice of the Lake Erie shoreline from Cleveland's western edge all the way to Michigan. And at many points, it's so narrow that it's less than a mile wide, and it has a very interesting rhyming nickname. Those are the wordlets, due to its resemblance to a creature curled along the coastline. So this is what Ohio's 9th Congressional District looks like. Look at the shape in general. That smaller image might be more helpful for you to figuring out what that creature is. Creature's name will form part of the answer. And look at the fact that it's a rhyming sort of thing. Look at what lies around it. And this nickname started when a certain internet fad of naming things like these, naming rhyming things, started as well, in a similar vein. Snake on the lake, snake by the lake, any of it is fine. Question 17. Torrenia fornieri, found commonly in Kerala, is an annual plant in that particular family. What common name does it have due to the appearance of its stamen? So don't look at the bulbish part in the flower, look at what else is there in the stamen. This is a wishbone. Question 18. Lopez Design was tasked with wayfinding and signage design for India's grandest public space. This project included a host of novel solutions, including the creation of a new symbol for gender-neutral amenities. And among other things, they also had a tactile map that would help visually impaired people find its way. Essentially, it's a map which has the places in Braille. For what project or what was India's grandest space that this map was being designed? This is the Central Vista project. Okay, question 19. These structures, designed by architect Matthew Lehener, are alliteratively called dash pyramids. Each one represents some aspect of the individual entities shown using design abstraction. What fills in the blank? These are some of the objects. That is what is written beneath them. Russia, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, and Spain. So what aspect does it represent? Like I said, they are called dash pyramids. It's alliterative. They are population pyramids. Question 20. Design firm Pentagram rebranded an Indian product, taking cues from packaging graphics of the raw material of the product. Which brand is this? So basically, this is how the raw material for their product is packaged and transported. See here. This is how the Fruity brand font appears. Question 21. Designed by Thomas Heatherwick, the Vessel is a new public space that has opened up in NYC. Heatherwick's inspiration came from his trips to Gujarat, specifically after seeing a popular tourist attraction there. What structures, it's a generic answer, I want a specific answer, from our part of the world inspired the Vessel? So this is what the Vessel looks like in New York. Take a close look at it. No, I'm not looking for a specific answer, I'm looking for a generic structure from our part of the world that inspired this, not looking for any proper nouns. Baoli, Stepwell, anything along those lines is fine. Question 22. In the 50s, Las Vegas turned two of its top attractions into beauty pageants. One of them was showgirls from the whole casino culture and everything. What was the other theme, judging from the sample contestant's photo? So this is a sample contestant who took part in this Las Vegas beauty pageant. This is how they appear as part of the contest. And it's Vegas in the 50s. It said that, okay, the showgirls are very famous, let's start a beauty pageant. And another thing is growing in popularity where we are around us. Let's incorporate that also. So what exactly was this contest all about, or what was this other facet of Vegas? Atomic tests, mushroom clouds, atomic bombs. Moving on, question 23. This is from a 19th century woodcut print of a famous 11th century poem, The Ravayat of Omar Khayyam. How in 1974 did it enter public consciousness? Oh, come with old Khayyam and leave the wise. To talk, one thing is certain, that life flies. One thing is certain and the rest is lies. The flower that once has blown forever dies. This is the Grateful Dead double album cover. Question 24. Jaeger LeCoult's iconic design, the Reverso, was born in the 1930s of a request from British officers stationed in Hyderabad and Jodhpur. The result was a rectangular frame which allowed the central portion to be rotated to reposition the crystals inwards and the solid metal case outwards. For what use or context was this design created? So that's how the Reverso looks. That is how all normal watches look. And it allowed you to reposition the crystal such that essentially the clock face flipped inwards. For what purpose was this created? Look at the fact it was created in the 30s. It was created for British officers stationed in places like Hyderabad and Jaipur. And think in general why you would want to turn a clock face inside out. So it was used to withstand the rigors of polo. Okay, question 25. This ice cream flavor, which became known in 2019 at a store in Hong Kong, is designed to make it difficult to breathe with pungent flavors that cause irritation. The makers experimented with wasabi and mustard to create this effect, but stuck with black peppercorn as it came closest to replicating something. What does it aim to replicate? So that's the ice cream flavor. And if you can read that script, I think good for you. And this is a person who is serving it. This is tear gas. Okay, question 26. I can't pronounce that name, but something Kovar, a factory worker in the 30s in, I can't pronounce that name, in Czechoslovakia, later became a designer. He made these innovations to reduce calluses, blisters, and cuts. What was his workplace? Very famous workplace, brand, company, whatever you want to call it. So what was his workplace? Ada Bata Sabla. Bata is 1 point. 2 pointers start now, of which we will go to the first. When the first brand of this product was released, the makers designed their logo to convey their superiority, staying away from typical paisley designs. A pricier version for connoisseurs was also released, whose name came from the Sanskrit word for the raw material that is grown in the Himalayan region, which is used to make this product. And the logo was also a minimalist depiction of the same. So which brand are we talking about? And what was this pricier version for connoisseurs? This is the greater than gin and juniper berries, which when translated to Sanskrit is hapusa. Question 28. This style gets its name from the French term that describes its look. Beton, where beton means cement, and dash, which means raw. Which style is this? I'll show you an image. And over the years, right-wing governments around the world have been demolishing or passing laws to demolish such structures built in this style. Why are these structures being demolished? So this is in Hyderabad, if I'm not mistaken, it's the BSNL old office. And it represents this style of architecture, which is called beton dash, which means cement and something. So what is that something? What does that, or beton raw, basically. So what is raw in French, in other words? And why are right-wing governments around the world trying to demolish these structures? Brute or brutalist or brutalism is right. And why are these structures being demolished? They have USSR or communist era links. Question 29. This coinage began in 2013 with a fashion trend which used sameness rather than uniqueness as a design principle. Many recent fads have been named in this format, that is a word describing this fad, and dash, a word that means central principle. Name the fashion trend that this image shows, that the first image shows. And in the second image, there's a related fashion trend, which is a two-word alliterative term which says that brightly colored clothes produce a neurotransmitter that makes people upbeat. So what is this two-word alliterative term? So the first picture on the left with Anne Hathaway, that describes the first phenomena, where the first part of the word is a fad, and the second part of the word means central principle. So which particular word describes the fad that Anne Hathaway in that picture is representing? It's called Barbiecore. Dopamine dressing, dopamine dress gets you 1 point. Question 30. Feedback is bad for audio production, and podcasters learning from experience have been using feedback reduction principles in their craft over the past few years. One change is visible comparing this JRE episode number 2 to number 127. What was this change? This change helps in technical ways, but in addition, it changes a certain human behavior in a positive way. It aids the podcasting process in general. What behavioral modification does it produce? So this is JRE episode number 2 on the left. Images are hazy, but it's enough for you to work out what exactly is the change. And that is JRE number 127. Look at the two images, spot a difference. That is the modification that has come into the podcasting process. As a result of that, the entire process of podcasting is aided in some way. It modifies human behavior in a positive way. What is this modification to human behavior, or how does it aid the process of podcasting? So these are wearing headphones, and essentially it's a real-time feedback. It basically stops you from talking over the other guy. That's the perfect answer. And moving on to question 31. This design superimposed the semaphore signals for the letters N and D, taken to stand for nuclear disarmament, and originated as a representation of the threat of nuclear annihilation used in British anti-nuclear activism from 1958. What creation are we talking about? And the creator who designed this has cited an additional inspiration too. A person who faced a quote-unquote impending death, made a vain attempt to surrender but perished regardless. What is this other inspiration that is attributed to a Spanish gentleman? This is the peace symbol, and that was the peasant before the firing squad in the 3rd of May. Question 32. When Max Sidentoff designed his installation, he used 6 white plinths upon which speakers rested, which would play Africa by Toto for all time. What did Sidentoff compare his setup to based on its appearance? I'll show you an image. And the following video, shot in the same country where Sidentoff designed his installation, also became the primary site for which mid-2010s project. So this is the setup. It made the news a lot. These play Africa by Toto forever. And he said that, okay, these are 6 tall white plinths. This is what I think. In fact, he called it the white dash. What is that dash? And I'll play the video once you're done with the image. Yeah. And what did he compare his design to? This is the white Stonehenge. And what was shot in this? This is the Stonehenge, and this was Mad Max Fury Road. Guys, please hand over your sheets quickly. Welcome to the design quiz finals. Please give a big round of applause to yourselves. So this is the finals. There are 31 questions. We'll see how much of it we can cover. 13 drives clockwise, 13 anti-clockwise, and a 5-question written round in the middle. I'm assuming everybody knows pounce and bounce. So wasting no time, starting off with the drives 1. Question 1 to team 1. In the 2013 NBC series Hannibal, profiler Will Graham enters a trance-like state to recreate crimes. After every grisly and artistic recreation, he exits the trance, speaking as the killer, a particular phrase, taking credit for the arrangement. What phrase fills in the blanks? People have also compared these death tableaus to the work of a famous artist, and the crime scene from one particular Hannibal clip is shown in the next, in the next slide. Which artist work is replicated in this? So this is what one particular tableau looks like, where he's dissected the bodies and kept them in separate compartments. And what is this phrase that he says, taking credit for this particular arrangement? It's a fairly fitting first question. Okay, pounce from team 3. And a pounce from team 2. Okay, pounces are in. I have pounce from teams 2, 3, 5, and 8. Question direct to team 1.
We'll say the artist is Hearst.
Okay. And the phrase is passing you to passes to team 4.
Doesn't fit, but okay, name of my design.
Name of my design. Team 6.
This is my design.
That will get you the full 10 points. He says, this is my design. And Damien Hirst gets you the full 10 points along with that. 1, 5 to 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10. Question direct to team 7. The name of this location in London gives its name to a product that is often used in the entertainment world. And it's not specific to just movies set in London. An iconic example of its use was The Shining. It is a registered trademark and used in various versions. However, certain exceptions like George Romero's 1968 film, The Night of the Living Dead, exist. What two-word term, which is also the name of this location and the name of the product, Why are movies like Living Dead an exception to its use? So this is a particular location in London, very famous neighborhood, very famous location. And the location itself gives rise to the name of a certain product, which is used widely in films. I don't think anyone is pouncing, so we'll go ahead and take the answer from team 7.
Kensington Garden.
Is the name of the product.
So it's used. Whatever that is used to simulate like blood and gore.
And why are
in zombie movies you don't have to have realistic blood and gore. You can sort of stretch the limits.
Team 8, I need an answer.
Okay, so second part we'll go with blood, and it's a zombie movie, so no need for blood. First part we'll say it's the HP sauce.
Okay, team 1.
We'll say the two-word term is Kensington Horror. And basically in the Night of the Living, etc., they're set in the night. So you don't really need red color blood. You won't see the color. The contrast won't be there.
Okay, team 2.
Yeah, the lack of the need to use realistic blood in zombie movies for the second part, and we'll say Kew Garden for the first part.
Kew Gardens. Team 3.
So the two-word term is Luton Bus.
Okay.
And movies like Night of the Living Dead, they don't really require jump scares. They're slow-moving zombies and stuff
Okay.
like that. So.
Team 4.
We'll say Kensington Horror and Night of the Living Dead and these movies, I think they use real blood instead of whatever this thing.
Okay. Team 5.
It's Regent Horror or Regent something like that, and based on Regent's Park. And in the Living Dead movies, pig blood. They use pig blood in too.
Team 6.
Say Kensington Horror. The second part will say this is a specific, like a makeup skin tone thing to ensure that, I mean, in other movies you use it to show that someone's real, it doesn't get distorted, but here you don't need to show that they're living at all. Yeah.
Okay, audience, yes. That is why they don't use this particular product. So like one team pointed out, it is blood. So this area is called Kensington Gore, and it's named after the Kensington Gore estate. And like it was pointed out in the audience, these movies are black and white, so they have no need to show authentic blood on screen. So we will keep with team 7. Question 3, back to team 7. The dash dash was created in 1915 by the Meanly Foundry in Troy, New York to show solidarity for a certain cause, directly inspired by an older Pennsylvania entity. Upon creation, however, it was bound symbolically with a large chain which prevented it from being operated, and this is how it remained for the next 5 years until a certain monumental change was implemented. This change was commemorated by then operating this object 48 times. What was this object directly inspired by? What change occurred in 1920 and why was it operated 48 times? This is an ad before this particular entity was about to be operated. It says something. The first blank is essentially the name of the object, but I don't need the name of this object. I need what Pennsylvania entity inspired it. This is direct to team 7. If there are no teams who intend to pounce apart from team 3. Okay, I have pounces from teams 2 and 3 and I'm closing the pounce and taking the answer from team 7. Go for it.
The object was inspired by the Liberty Bell.
Okay.
For part of it was operated 48 times because there were 48 states in the US.
Okay.
And change that occurred in 1920 is
okay. I'll do it from the next question. Go ahead.
I guess it used to have a chain in the, like you said, the thing was turned into a ribbon.
Okay. Okay. Team 8.
And 48 times for 40 states and...
So the change of the...
a new state was formed. The 49th state was formed.
Okay. Team 1.
Inspired by the Liberty Bell. 1920 is when voting rights for women came into force, and 48 states were there in the US.
We'll get you the full 10 points. So it was inspired by the Liberty Bell, and this was when women's suffrage or women's voting rights were given, and there were 48 states in the US at that time. So the full 10 points to team 1. On the pounce, 10 to team 2, and question moves to team 2. The following images show the growth of nature and forests in a pattern over small hills with troughs, uneven slopes, and pitted ground. From here, Belgian and French farmers collect an annual harvest after ploughing their fields. The harvest from the spring planting and autumn plowing seasons is collected and sold, or it's given in some cases, to the government authorities. What is the reason for this kind of growth? Where does this growth occur? And what is this quote-unquote harvest? So this is one image. This is another image. And this is yet another image. Yes, they are both linked. Okay, pounce is closed. We have pounces from teams 3, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, team 2. One also pounced. Okay, team 2.
World War I, the unexploded mines and shells which are lying in that Belgian one. The farmers, whenever they dig up, it's called iron harvest. Iron harvest.
We'll give it to you for that. So these are essentially unexplored trenches and dug up places where mines were placed initially, and that is what is harvested, given to the governments. So 10 to 1, 10 to 2, 10 to 3, and question moves to team 3. This spy cam footage shows a certain animal which is considered a farm pest in its habitat. Which animal? In the 15th century, particularly in Germany, there was an initiative to design a countermeasure against them. What resulted as from these countermeasures?
That was absolutely magic.
2 pounces so far. If there are no others, I will close pounce and take the answer from team 3. 10 points to team 3. That is a badger. And dachshunds were bred. Dash meaning badger and hund meaning dog. So this is why dachshunds were created. Prasanna, they're clapping for your question. Please take a claim. And so the 10 points to team 3, 10 points to team 6, 10 points to team 8, 10 points to team 7, 3, 7, 6, 8. Question moves to team 4. At the F1 Lenovo Japanese GP 2023 at Suzuka, a certain change was made to the track at turn 2. This was done as part of an awareness campaign by 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel. What was this change and what cause were they trying to highlight? So basically, this image, there is something that was changed for this particular Grand Prix, and they were trying to highlight a certain cause as part of this change. So what was this change? I have a pounce from team 5 and team 3. Closing the pounce then and taking the answer from team 4.
Okay, cause like global warming, climate change kind of a thing.
Okay,
and I'm assuming like, I don't know, they had grass there in the corner instead of tire.
Team 5 pounds, team 6.
Essentially, you see the chickens there. They're painted like yellow and black as opposed to usually them being white and black.
And why?
Highlight some visual impairment, color blindness.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Team 7.
The change is the yellow and black, whatever thingy that Srinath said it is at the edge of the and I want to say that pedestrian safety.
Team 8. On a racetrack.
We'll say the color was changed to yellow instead of white, and to raise awareness against yellow fever.
Okay, yellow fever. Very interesting answer. Team 1.
We'll say the yellow and black thing to raise awareness about basically raise in temperatures and melting ice caps and all that.
Okay, team 2.
The yellow and black coloring there, and that is to raise awareness about things like hydrogen fuel, green fuel, things like that,
Team 3 pounced, team 4's direct. Audience? They were conserving for bees and they were raising awareness for bee conservation. So that's why they made it black and yellow. As you can see, it's like team 6 said, it's white and red. So 5 points to team 1 for giving us white and red. In that spirit, question moves to team 7. In 1971, the merging of computer programs, whatever they're called, resulted in usernames and computer names also getting merged for the use of these programs. For this operation, the designers needed a unique delimiter. so that software could reliably merge and unmerge the names. An accounting and invoicing symbol was found suitable, as it hadn't been used before in the world of computers. What was this delimiter? And what was its previous usage that is still making its presence felt in how it is being used today? So if there are no pounces, we will go to team 7.
So we're going to say this is the @ symbol for 1. And we're going to say it's the @ symbol for 2 also. Because we don't know, so we're hit.
Okay.
So we'll say the symbol is the underscore.
Okay.
Yeah, we have nothing.
Passing team 1.
We'll say @ for the first part, and second part we'll say in emails. Email addresses.
Okay, fine. I think we'll give it to team 1. So it's basically, it is @ and initially it was used for $5 @ and its usage of @, why do we need to call it @ is still retained in today's usage for email addresses. So we'll give the 10 points to team 1. We'll give 5 to team 7 for giving us @. And question moves to team 2. Starting in 2018 with the TV show The Deuce, a certain type of design professional became commonplace in shows like Bridgerton, Euphoria, etc. The two images, which I will show a typical practitioner's kit bag like this. Name these specialists or describe their work, and what motivated HBO to start this practice. So this is what this professional's kit bag looks like. A lot of unique items. A closer look at some of the things they use. If you've seen The Deuce, you can take a good guess as to what this person does or what they are hired for. And therefore, what inspired HBO or what prompted HBO to team 2?
These specialists are who are called intimacy coordinators, and essentially HBO is preempting things against of the whole Me Too movement, sexual harassment against women, and so on.
Take an easy 10 points. These are intimacy coordinators. They are used to design quote-unquote sexual scenes in TV shows and movies. And the Me Too, this particular thing happened when Emily Mead asked preemptively that she wants to have someone like this. So full 10 points to team 2. On the pounce, 10 points to team 1, 10 points to team 3, 10 points to team 4, 10 points to team 5, 10 points to team 6. You guys pounce, 10 points to team 7. And a neg to team 8. And question moves to team 3. In 2017, Hungary started targeting brands that had political inclinations. One such entity had to defend itself, saying that its representation wasn't political, but instead it represented their 5 ingredients: water, barley, hops, yeast, and a magic touch. 5 years prior to this, 2012, they had made the headlines as well when they supposedly gave $45 million for a product placement to a franchise's installment. This was done to indicate that the lead character was beginning to decline as he had a strong affinity for something, but instead asked for this particular product. So which brand or product are we talking about, and what 2012 production are we talking about? It's a specific 2012 production. I don't want the franchise, I want a specific 2012 production. Okay, so pounce from team 5, and pounce is closed. Team 3, you're direct.
So this is the Heineken level because it has a red star.
Okay.
And Skyfall.
We'll get you the full 10 points. So this is where Skyfall is where he asks for a beer instead of his usual drink, and this is Heineken with their 5 red pointed star. 10 points to team 1, 10 points to team 3, 10 points to team 5, 10 points to team 6, 10 points to team 4, and 10 points to team 8. Negative to team 5, and question direct to team 4. Okay. Made between the 13th and 15th centuries, moralized Bibles were a type of Bible which contained extensive and highly detailed artwork depicting key scenes from the Old and New Testaments. Being created entirely by hand prior to the invention of the printing press, they were highly expensive and very limited in number. In fact, there are only 7 surviving fully illustrated moralized Bibles. What design construct were the inspiration behind these illustrations? And these constructs, which date back to as old as 7th century AD, were built to serve what specific purpose? These are some images from a moralized Bible. What design construct was the inspiration for these images or for these visuals? And what purpose did these design constructs serve? Not what moralized Bible serve, but what purpose did the inspiration of these, the design construct that inspired these images, what did they serve? Okay, So pounces are in from teams 1 and 6 and 7 and 5. Okay, all around. And pounce is closed. Team 4, you can give us your answer.
So from inspiration from stained glass windows in churches, and the stained glass windows were built to teach illiterate people about the stories of the Bible.
Easy 10 points. So they were inspired by stained glass windows, and it was used to educate illiterate masses on religion. Great answer there by team 4. They get the full 10 on the pounce. Team 5 gets 10. Team 6 gets 10. Team 7 gets 10. Team 8 in pounce. Team 1 gets 10. Question moves to team 5. Prior to the computerization of accounting records starting from the 80s, business accounting was done entirely on physical ledgers. And if you picked one up and flipped through the pages, you would find that the pages were ruled with tables drawn in and a sea of entries in 2 colors. As the financial year began, there was more of one color than the other, and this reversed towards the end of the year. What 2 complementary terms comes from these 2 colors? And what annual event is so named because it is intended to affect the reversal? So what complementary terms comes from the fact that these ledgers were primarily filled in 2 different colors? And what annual event is so named because it brings about this reversal as the year goes by? Teams have pounced. This is direct to team 5.
So it's in the red and in the black. And the annual event is Black Friday, where you basically go from making a loss to making a profit.
Black Friday by Anurag Kashyap is the right answer.
Thank you.
10 points to team 5 on the bounce.
But that movie made a loss, yeah.
It's a nice movie. 10 points to teams on the pounce. Question direct to team 6. In sports betting, odds are an example of information design, and in the most straightforward type of bet, a binary win-lose outcome, the odds convey to the bettor who the favorite is by indicating that the winnings would be less than the wagered amount. In what way, counterintuitive to non-bettors, do odds for the favorite convey this? So basically, how are odds for favorites shown? To a non-bettor, how are they shown? What additional function of service to the bookmaker does this design allow for? So basically, how does a bookmaker show the odds for the favorite? And additionally, it allows the bookmaker to a particular advantage in a similar betting context. It allows him a certain function with which he can set odds. Team 2 has pounced. Team 6.
So, to take an example, a favorite is 1 on 3.
Okay.
And the other guy is, let's say, 2 on 3. The favorite is 1 on 3. So the lesser, where you make 1 rupee on 3 that you bet or something like that.
Okay.
So the lesser is what the favorite is, whereas the non-favorite is 2 on 3.
Okay.
And the functional advantage of that is that once you fix 1 on 3, the balance 2, you just need to
across the other.
So it adds up to 3, so it kind of...
Correct. Team 7. Team 8.
So the favorites odds are typically in the list of odds. It's written in the smallest type, which is why it's counterintuitive.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing for second part.
Team 1.
We'll say odds for the favorites are in the form of, say, the 2 by 3, 1 by 3, etc. And for the not favorites, it will be higher, basically 5 by 2 or etc.
Okay.
And basically, the bookmaker will end up making more money.
Team 3.
Non-betting, I think, he exactly people are betting on. And because of that, the additional function is people tend to put more money thinking they're going to win a lot of money. So that's on the left.
Team 4. Then team 5.
Yeah, so the favorites odds are represented in the reverse of everyone else. And this...
What do you mean by reverse of everyone else?
Instead of 1 by 3, they'll be putting it as, let's say, 3 by 1.
Okay.
And this entices more people to not bet on the favorites because they assume that they're lower odds than they actually are. So as a consequence, they bet on other teams, and if the favorite wins, then the bookie makes more money.
That is not the right answer. Audience. Oh wait, audience.
So basically, my chances are always like somebody has a 1 in 3 chances, somebody has a 2 in 3 chance. It's actually represented as 2 to 1. So the favorite is said it's 5 to 1 odds or 2 to 1 odds. It's counterintuitive, right? And how it directly, one second. And how it directly goes is that if you pay £5, you get £1 back.
That's
Is one of them shown in decimals while the other is shown in...
not decimals, but it is shown.
With the minus symbol.
It is shown with the minus sign. The odds for the favorite are shown with the minus sign. So like they said, it's -1. What it does is it discourages too much betting on underdogs. Basically, odds are manipulated. So if it's -110 on the favorite, they actually make it -130, which means you won't probably make as much, but it's a much safer bet. So they are discouraged from betting on the underdog and they move to betting on the major one. Like there's a guy who bet like a lot of money on Leicester winning. No points anywhere except a -5 to team 2. And question stays with team 6. A plethora of old sketches like this 1854 work by James Ferguson on the next slide makes it seem like the old world was full of outstanding artists. However, even an unartistic person could make such a sketch where they used a box that would assist a person make a pencil tracing over rays of light to make incredibly lifelike freehand drawings. What was this particular box called? And in tandem with it, another type of box which was designed to use darkness and aids like silver, iodine, mercury vapor, etc. to make striking likenesses. Name this particular box. So there are two boxes. Both styles are, both results of these boxes are visible in this painting. Team 6.
The first one is camera lucida and the second one camera obscura.
Take the full 10 points. This is camera obscura and camera lucida, lucid and obscure. Points to team 3, minus to team 5, minus to team 4, 10 to team 6. Anywhere else? Plus 10 to team 1, minus 5 to team 2, plus 10 to team 7. Question 13, last one in this round. 217. Okay, it's 14, fine. Okay, the Flushing Meadows Park in Queens was originally developed in the 1910s as a port. For this purpose, it was initially filled with coal ash supplied by trains which were nicknamed dash dash, since they deposited white soot all along their routes. These ash dumps meant that the soil over the years has remained very soft in this region. As a result, when an establishment, which had initially opened in 1997, was to have a design alteration in 2016, a much lighter material had to be used than as planned before. What were these trains called, based on the fact that they deposited these rays of white soot along them? And what 2016 alteration are we talking about? Okay, if there are no pounces, okay, pounce is closed, team 7.
First part, we'll say talcum powder.
Talcum powder.
The surface of the US Open main court playing surface was changed.
Okay.
Was altered.
Team 8.
First part will say talcum powder and second part Guggenheim Museum.
Guggenheim Museum, team 1.
So the 2016 alteration is a retractable roof on the US Open.
Okay.
And we'll say talcum powder.
Gets you the full 10 points. This is the roof on the Arthur Ashe Arena, which was installed in 2016. And talcum powder trains, as team 1 and 7 both have said. So 5 points to team 7, 10 points to team 1. And on the pounce, nobody pounced. A small written round of 5 questions. We'll just rush through it. All the answer will have some famous location, landmark, etc. Question 1. This Florida establishment, designed by this particular individual, is a museum which houses the works of a European artist. What other entity from the late 80s was Weymouth the chief of design for? And the visitors tour offers a service called X, which allows children to idly pass away their time engaged in coloring activities while their parents tour the museum. What is this particular service called? An appropriately punny name derived from a common English term and the famous artist. This is an image of the museum. Closer look at the museum. What did the person who designed this, Jan Weymouth, he was also the chief of design for what? Another interior image to figure out perhaps who the artist is. And then you can take an educated guess as to what this tour service is called. The Louvre Pyramid is what he had designed. Dilly Dally. Moving on, question 2. Nick Wallenda is a 7th generation acrobat and trapeze artist. In February 2012, he was granted permission to perform a stunt, which had not been approved of in 116 years. Earlier recreations took place without guidelines. However, Wallenda was instructed not to carry anything on his body except a small blue item. While preparing for a similar event in 2013, he realized that the wind machines he had designed were inadequate. So he decided to wait for a couple of months since he felt something was bound to happen soon. What was this item that Valenda carried and why was he allowed to carry it? What was going on? What was he doing and why did he need this small blue item? And what did Valenda wait for in order to complete his training? So he crossed the Niagara Falls and he therefore moved into Canada and he had to come back, so he had to carry his passport. He waited for a hurricane. Question 3. The Arabic word for water carrier is kadus. The name of a certain location was arrived at by corrupting the Spanish version of this word since they saw a large number of a certain entity gathering at the spot. Over the years, lots of similar entities have made this place their home since it was free from human interaction, or intervention rather, for a long time. Which entity is this and what location are we talking about? These are pelicans. Alcatraz is the right answer because Al-Qudus became Alcatraz. Question 4. Eti Ciccioni is a designer who works at an exclusive location for about 30 people each year. He says that he has to be on call as newer entrants struggle initially and repairs often have to be made and 3 designs are created. One for summer, one for winter and one specially for night. This group performs a certain action when they are sworn in for their tenure, where the index finger, thumb and middle finger of the right hand are extended along the 3 different axes. Where does Ciccioni work and what does he do? What is this hand action meant to signify? If it helps, this is what they do when they are sworn in, as they are sworn in. Usually people are sworn in with like this. These guys are sworn in like this. 5 points for the Vatican or the Swiss Guard, the Holy Trinity or Father, Son and the Holy Spirit. Okay, last one of the written round. The Horseman is a 1971 Hollywood film. The subject of the film has an Asian origin and forms a crucial part of the local cultures in several countries. And whatever the subject of the movie is, it began to decline in one particular nation until in 1998, a change in leadership took place. A few years later, a quote-unquote design-altering decision by this new, again, quote-unquote leadership led to a sharp resurgence in one specific province. What is the subject of this 1971 film? And what decision caused the rise of this subject? So this is a review in Sports Illustrated of this particular movie. A gutsy saga featuring the world's roughest sporting event, Dash. Essentially, what is that dash for the context of the movie? What is the subject of this film? And what happened in 1998 such that this particular thing started up again? Look at the fact that it has an Asian origin. Several countries over there use this. There was a change in leadership. They bombed the Bamia Buddha and the space was created and therefore Buzkashi rose again. Team 1, what's your score? 25 Team 1, Team 2? 20 Team 2, Team 3? 45 Team 3? 45 Team 4, equally modest. 20 Team 5? 45 Team 6, 25 Team 7, 40 Team 8. Team 6 is in the lead. Team 3 is second and closely followed by Team 1. Question 1, now going anti-clockwise to Team 8. Theodore Dash was a European entrepreneur who was initially given the rights to distribute Wrigley's in his nation. The design for his most famous product has several origin theories. The name is said to be a portmanteau of his own title and the Italian word for nougat. One theory states that the appearance is modeled after a nearby landmark. Another theory suggests that he was inspired after seeing a certain performance in a Paris location where the dancers created a human pyramid. Which product are we talking about? And what location made famous in the late 19th century by a Frenchman? Closing pounds, Team 8.
We'll say Toblerone and Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. Team 7.
Montpellier and Moulin Rouge.
Audience? Yes, this is Toblerone and a bar at the Folies Berger, painted by Edward Degas. So, negs all around except the audience. And 5 points to Team 8 for giving us Toblerone. Very nice red herring answer. Cool. Question 2 moves to Team 7. A conscious choice was made for getting the best possible impact in theatres. This involved somewhat puzzling experiences for audiences in different languages. In Italian, the phrase seen was, "the morning has gold in its mouth." In German, it was never put off until tomorrow what can be done today. And in Spanish, no matter how early you get up, you cannot make the sunrise any sooner. And in French, what you have is worth more than what you will have. What was the English phrase that was used originally, in the original context? And why was this choice to show phrases in the local languages made? Bounces from teams 2 and 3 and 1. Pounds is closed. Waiting for the answer. Major, please move your hand.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
And?
I mean, it shows this whole typing thing, so they just wanted to ensure the number of, the fingers move with the, according to whatever is the language in which it is being typed and stuff like that.
Team 6?
All letters.
The character there was Jack Torrance, right? So they had to change it accordingly to show the characters' names and look in the various versions. So they had to choose an appropriate phrase so that
Phrase where the name of the character in the different language showed up in the phrase.
I see. Team 5.
Yeah, it's all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy from The Shining. And that phrase does not exist in these other languages. So they needed to find a phrase that would convey the same sense of someone losing his goddamn mind. So that's why they chose these phrases instead. Or they basically wouldn't understand the English phrase all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy because the movie's happening in German or whatever, so.
Fine, we'll end it there at team 5. So this is all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And basically he thought that we need to use a phrase that the people will actually understand. Somebody is pure in Italian. He doesn't know all work and no play. So they don't want to waste time reading the subtitles and trying to figure out what the phrase actually means and rather feel the full impact of the scene itself. So we'll give 10 points to team 5. We'll give 5 points to team 7. Team 1 gets the full 10 points. Next to teams 3 and 4. Question direct to team 4. Growers design spaces to these specifications: 7 to 25 degrees Celsius, 75 to 85% humidity, indirect sunlight, and fresh air with some movement. Next, they prepare oak logs as substrates on which objects named for the Japanese word for oak are grown. What object or what item are we talking about? And how does the human palate interpret oakiness? So for the second part, I'm looking for a specific technical term which describes the texture or the feel that the human palate interprets oakiness as. Okay, so team 3 has pounced, team 7 has pounced, 6 has pounced, 8 has pounced. Nobody else pouncing. Pounce is closed. Team 4.
Okay, we'll say Suntory whiskey casks, and then we'll say some oakiness is felt as dryness in mouth or something. Dryness.
Team 2.
Japanese whiskey casks and PT.
Team 1.
Mushrooms for the first part. Shiitake mushrooms.
Okay.
Umami.
Perfect answer there from team 1. They get the 10 points. These are shiitake mushrooms that are grown, and the human palate interprets as meaty, or technically it is called umami. So 10 points to team 1. Team 3 gets 10 points. Team 6 gets 10 points. Team 7 gets 10 points. Team 8 gets 10 points. And question moves to team 8. These creatures use their hard outer shells to surround and protect their soft bodies while they progress through submerged material, usually wood. In doing this, they hurt a certain industry in maintenance and replacement costs. What is this creature eponymously called after the industry? And in the early 19th century, a father and a famous son were inspired by said creature and designed something that achieved a certain first. What did they design? So have a look at the video.
I'm going to find something really quite interesting. Oh, wow. This is really cool. Okay, so that piece of stone is just split.
So there's two now.
Ah, there's two.
Okay.
This one's enormous. Wow. This animal, there we go. Let's give him a little rinse. Look at this plump specimen.
Okay, so what is this creature eponymously called? Okay, if there are no pounces, we will move to team 8.
We will ship slug for first part. First underground tunnel.
Anything more to add to the second part?
London Underground Tunnel.
Fair enough, it was the first London Underground Tunnel. It's not the channel. It's called the ship worm, not the ship slug, but fair enough, we'll give it for ship slug. And this was the tunneling shield. So this is how they designed. points to Team 8 for giving us Shipworm and Tunnel. This is not the channel. This is the first Thames Wala Tunnel. Anyone pounced? Nobody pounced. Point moving to Team 7. Scorsese drew inspiration from a classic movie scene to film the boxing matches in Raging Bull. Which scene and which movie? The real-life boxing match happened on 14th February 1951, inviting comparison to a famous 1929 incident. What moniker was this particular fight given? So this is the scene. So that's the scene. Which movie and scene inspired Scorsese to do this? Look at that. Robinson comes in for the kill. He pulls back. The real-life boxing match happened on 14th February 1951. So pounces from Team 3 only and Team 1. Okay, and Team 5 and pounces closed. Team 7.
Okay, the first part is the dueling scene from Colonel Blimp.
Okay.
Life and Times of
Bloody Monday, when the Wall Street crash happened.
Okay. Team 6. Okay. Okay. Team, we pounced Team 4.
Okay. Okay. Valentine's Day Massacre and Odessa Step scenes from Potemkin.
Battleship Potemkin. Team 3 pounced. Team 2.
Valentine's Day Massacre, the Martin Brando boxing match from On the Water.
Okay. Team 1 pounced. Team 8.
First part will say the shower scene from Psycho.
Okay.
And second part, the fight of the long count.
Fight of the long count. Well done. Audience? It's the shower scene from Psycho and St. Valentine's Day Massacre. So this is the overline. So well done, Team 8. You get only 5 points. And the other 5 goes to Team 6, who gave us Valentine's Day. And Team 3 gets plus 10. Team 1 gets plus 10. Negatives to Team 5. Question moves to Team 7. Only a single medium-sized HUT suit was available between McLean and Koch. Despite having several larger-sized units, a certain historic first had to be scrapped. Their employer did in fact make another suit. Why though? Even though the preponderance of XL and L, only 2 mediums and no smalls. And what first that eventually took place in October 2019. So basically, why did they not have any small-sized HUTs? Why did they only have XL and L? They had 2 mediums, but no small-sized HUTs. Okay, pounces are done. Team 7.
All US presidents have been men, so these suits have been tailored for their size. Kamala Harris became the vice president nominee, and so they had to create a suit for her size.
Team 6
bulletproof.
Team 5.
Space suits for astronauts.
Okay.
2019, you had specifically for women a space suit.
So what first took place?
The first woman spacewalk?
Gets you the full 10 points. So there is a male bias in spacesuits, and that is why there are no smaller sizes created for women. And in October 2019, when the first all-female spacewalk happened, the first time they created a smaller size. Well done, Team 5. They get 10. Team 6 on the pounds gets 10. Team 1 on the pounds gets 10. Team 4 on the pounds gets 10. Nobody else pounced. Question moves to Team 4. The X conjecture that was stated in 36 BC by a Roman scholar tried to answer an age-old design question. It proposed that the design being used gave maximum storage for the least wall surface area. Science confirms that the design indeed stores the most volume using the least building material. What numerically designed named design do X's use? The same design principle is also true for extracting the most material as it is for storing. Certain products, when cut from slats, of which I'll show you an image, using this principle, result in the most efficient use of material. A side benefit is that it makes the product more stable on surfaces. So what product? So these are slats. Something is carved or designed from these slats. What are those objects? Or what are those entities? What is that product? So pounces are in. Teams 3, 1 and 7 have pounced. Nobody else has pounced. Question is with team 4.
Hexagonal packing and IKEA flat packs.
Interesting. Team 3 pounced. Team 2?
Hexagonal packing and artificial beehives.
Okay. Team 1 pounced. Team 8?
Hexagonal packing and Lego bricks.
Lego bricks. Team 7 pounced. Team 6? Perfect answer from team 6. So this is why hexagonal pencils, this is how hexagonal pencils are designed, and circular pencils would roll off surfaces. This is what allows them to stay still. Full 10 points for team 6, 5 points to team 4 for giving us hexagons, 10 to team 3, 10 to team 7, 10 to team 1, and question direct to team 5. In order to overcome limitations of the traditional Saraswati Veena, musician Suma Sadhindra designed the Tarangini Veena using guitar frets and a magnetic pickup, eliminating the need for an acoustic resonator. Why did using guitar frets lead to the Veena producing more consistent sound over time? And what aspect of modern musicians' lifestyle is this design of Veena more suited for? So this is what this particular Veena looks like. She used guitar frets to design it to fulfill a certain purpose, which makes it produce more consistent sound over time. Okay, I don't think anyone is pouncing. Team 5.
Okay. We'll say for the first part, it helps the musician determine the exact positioning when tuning the musician.
Tuning the musician?
Tuning the...
when you play like in a guitar fret,
okay,
the notes are clearly demarcated,
Achha.
so you play the proper note.
Okay.
And whereas in a Veena, you don't have any marking. So when you're doing the tuning, you don't have an exact source of reference. So there is chances of human error.
And
the second part is to be able to play this while sitting on a chair.
Because it doesn't have that big rear end over there.
Team 4? Whatever they said for the first part.
Yeah, we'll say that. Second part, like easier to carry in airplanes, basically.
And second part,
whatever they said.
So you see, when you keep pressing like over time, there are grooves that kind of form on the strings. Because the grooves form on those patterns, it leads to better harmonies.
It doesn't, but team 2.
We're really out of...
Basically, because the ridges are there, it reduces wear and tear, right? So over time, there's no ridges don't break, there's no damage to the string, so you get consistent sound.
Okay.
And
second part, whatever they said.
Travel in airplanes.
Team 8?
So the guitar frets, it has a higher metallic content because of which it doesn't degrade over time as much.
Okay.
So more consistent. Second part is stored away in airline baggage.
Okay. And team 7, you can give your pounds now.
We'll say for the first part, wood basically what happens is different weather, climate, all of those makes wood wear, tear, change consistently. The tonal quality changes over years. If you go to different places, again it changes because of weather. So which is why you use metal and air travel.
6.
Guitar frets actually lend more structural stability to the Veena.
Okay.
It leads to lesser warping. Whereas the actual Veena, you see over time, the bridge, the neck rather warps.
I see. Okay. And 5's direct. Audience? No, none of that. Basically, it isn't temperature sensitive, so the strings don't heat up as you... Oh, you said temperature? Okay, cool. My bad then. 10 points to team 7, we'll give it. And question 8, direct to team 6. Dubbed one of the most difficult races on the planet, the Barkley marathons require to cover a punishing 5 loops of 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah. And it's said the mountain always wins. The race was designed by this individual when a certain individual navigated this territory in 1977, a person who ultimately covered 13 kilometers in 55 hours. Who? These are some images of the marathon. So who was this individual? You've checked? 2 also you've checked? Okay. No more pounces. Team 6 will take the answer from you. You think absolutely correctly. This is James Earl Ray's prison escape attempt. That's what they recreated. 10 points to team 6 on the pounce. 10 to 3, 10 to 8, 10 to 7, 10 to 2. Hyderabad Nawabs in the lead, 170. Hot on their tails, CIDs from Kerala, 155. Hotter on their tails, Amar Akbar Anthony, 150. Question number 9, directed to team 5. Okay, these installations prevalent in Western architecture were first seen in the United States over 300 years ago. James Hoban, an American architect, happened to come across this particular window design in Philadelphia. The curving glass let in more light, which convinced him to install them all around what his main construction was supposed to be. What are these windows called, and what did Hoban eventually design to accommodate these windows? Okay, so these are what dash windows look like. What are these windows called? Focus on these arches. Try and describe this shape to me, what it looks like. Okay, guys, we are really short on time. We have 4 more questions, so I will close the pounds. Team 5. What are
Oval
these?
windows, oval office.
Okay. Team 4.
Eyebrow windows and oval.
Okay. Team 1.
Say convex windows.
Which is what team 2 pounced on. Team 8.
Second part, oval office, and first part will say umbrella windows.
Team 7. Bay windows. Team 6.
Crescent windows and oval office.
Okay. Not quite. Team 7 off by 1 letter. These are called bow windows since they look like a bow. And oval office is right. So 5 points to team 5 for giving us oval office. Direct to team 4. This American company, headquartered in Purchase, New York, made use of a 2-hour period in the UAE, leading to a very successful marketing campaign centered around how their logos appeared when viewed in a particular light. During this 2-hour window, they lowered transaction prices and provided discounts, bagging astronomical sales in the process. Which company is this? What was happening during this 2-hour period? So there's a company based in Purchase, New York. That is helpful. Pounces are in. Team 8 is pouncing. What was happening? Generically, what was happening in this 2-hour window, and which company is this? Pounds closed. Team 4.
I will say De Beers
Okay.
for the company, and like there was a solar eclipse, so where you find the diamond ring pattern.
Team 1.
We'll say
Debuts.
Corona, and basically you could see a small outline of a moon, basically a crescent moon.
Okay. Team 8. 8 pounds kya? 7. Team 7. Passes. Team 6. Team 5.
Burj Khalifa se sunset ka view.
ठीक है.
And the company is, I don't know, Budweiser.
So this is MasterCard, and this is how they said their logo appears during a solar eclipse. So, did anybody give me anything? You gave us solar eclipse, 5 points to team 4, and 10 to teams 2, team 6, teams 8, and a -5 to team 3. There are 3 questions left. There is a numbering error. I am horrible at math. Okay. Steve Burrows is one of the leading structural engineers in the world, having designed several versions of an entity, spanning cities like Munich and Beijing. Due to his expertise in 2017, as part of a series called Time Scanners, he traveled to the Middle East to examine something. He concluded that as this was built from one single rock, the masons must have undertaken a simple construction process to determine whether the rock they were carving at each stage was of a certain quality as they descended the rock. What is Burrows analyzing, and what is the simple construction process that he used? And what are these common entities that he designed for several different cities? These entities are present all over the world. They're fairly common, and yellow image. Okay, so what is this? I don't want just where this is. I want to use what construction process did he determine that the masons used. This is direct to team 3. Okay. No pounces incoming. Closing pounce. Team 3. Okay, and? Okay. Okay. Team 2.
I'll say Petra and top-down construction in some way.
What is top-down construction?
As in,
what specifically?
It's a monolith rock. You start from the top and keep covering till you go.
Okay.
Yeah, instead of building ground up, like Kailashnath Temple in Ellora.
Okay,
like that.
okay. And?
So second part we'll say sports stadia.
Okay. Team 1.
We'll say we won't say top down. We'll just say out of monolith you just like cut into it. Like there is no, you don't carve out, basically hollow out things. Like you go into it and hollow out stuff.
Okay.
And entities we'll say stadiums.
you want to improve on your first answer?
They're basically mining out. They take out stuff.
Okay, fine. Teammate?
Yeah, Petra in stadiums and the simple construction process.
Hollowing out. Team 7?
Petra stadiums, and they would basically do one sort of pillar from top to bottom so that you know all the way down what is there, and then only do the rest of it.
Team 6?
Say the second part is stadium. What they would do is that they need to figure out what the structure of the stone is. So they make one big hole to figure out one shaft that goes all the way, and then they know the nature of the stone, and then they'll build.
Not quite.
So he is analyzing Petra in Jordan, and the entities he designed were stadiums.
And?
That's fine. So this process basically is he works on the process is you work on the outer facade, create some design on it.
Okay.
So that will tell you how soft or hard the rock is, whether it can be worked.
Okay.
And if you're able to construct the facade, then you sort of go deeper into the rock and you design it.
4 it was, no, yeah, team 4.
Okay.
Please.
So they did a test Piche, and then the opposite side they did the original thing in a monolith. So that's what they did. And entities will say obelisks.
3 is direct. Sorry, won't go to audience. Very close, team 1. So they essentially cut steps into the stones. They landed on each stone, saw if the integrity is solid enough, then carved further. And like you said, a horrible stadium in Manchester. Team 2 gets 5 points for sports stadiums, and question direct to team 1. Last 2 questions of the quiz. Okay, fine. CID is 2nd and Amar Akbar Anthony 3rd. Yeah. You pounce as if you are in the running. We'll see. Okay, team 1, this is your direct. A permanent exhibit recently opened in NYC's Brown building with 146 names cut into a steel ribbon. On a lower panel, there's some text in these languages describing a 1911 incident. In front of the building was a temporary installation with modern representations of the relevant 1911 objects. Name this company that ties all these clues together. And there are certain social design interventions that took place after this 1911 design consequence. What are these social design aspects? So this is what it looks like. And this is another helpful image. Okay, so what happened in 1911? Or name the company that this particular thing happened in 1911. And what landmark interventions of social design came about? Okay, no pounces. Team 1. Okay. Team 8.
The name of the company will say is the Triangle Shirtwaist Company.
Okay.
And what did they say for the landmarks?
Fire insurance.
Fire insurance.
Okay. Team 7.
One of the things is they started buildings. They started designing buildings with doors which open out rather than open in.
Mm-hmm.
Those seamstresses burning down or whatever.
Okay.
Fire escapes.
Okay, we'll say the company was Macy's, and the social. There was a fire, and the things were fire escapes and also fire codes, like regulations for.
Abercrombie and Fitch, what they said for the second part.
Life insurance.
Okay. And team 1's direct. Not quite. So this is the Triangle Shirtwaist Company, and these are why 8-hour workdays came into play. So these guys were working on minimum wage, rather less than minimum wage, and they were working for a long time. That is why they were trapped. They couldn't go home in time. So we'll give 5 points to team 8 for giving us Triangle. Okay, fine. 2 points to team 1 for giving us. There's a fire at Shirtwaist Company. And the last question of the quiz goes to team 7. In Afghanistan, only 50% of the population is vaccinated. Doctors face a lack of immunization history because parents do not maintain vaccination records. the country has many remote areas and cultural biases exist against this process. To overcome this challenge, the health ministry had to come up with a traditional low-tech solution which leveraged the design of a widely used cultural artifact and reinforced the protective value of immunization to the population. What artifact and how does it help to track vaccinations? And what is the concept behind the usage of this artifact, which is popular not just in Afghanistan, but several other Asian countries, including ours as well? Okay, pounce from team 8. And closing pounce, team 7.
Concept behind use of this artifact is the idea of nazar, as in babies and all, you should not have nazar or something like that. And that's the concept. Establish the concept.
And how do we
on the artifact, we think that typically this is this thread or something like that tied around the waist or around the hand of the baby and all to ward off this evil eye or something like that. Each knot probably signifies how many vaccinations, number of knots and stuff like that.
So take the 10 points. So this is an immunity charm or that thread. And on the pounce, we'll give it to team 2. We won't be, that's pretty much what the concept is. So 10 to team 2, -5 to team 8, 10 to team 7. And that ends the design quiz. Thank you so much for attending. And we can have the scores now. So Hyderabad Nawabs, 180 points, the winners. CIDs from Kerala, 157, and 6 points behind the Manu Ki Baat for the third.